Hi folks, Big D here at Big D's Lab, and I'm making this little recording just so I can test this out. Now, I've been having all kinds of computer problems, and so I have been unable to make any recordings, but hopefully here in the next little while I'll be able to do that. You'll notice I'm looking over here. I'm looking over here to the side here because I'm looking at my screen, because I'm looking at me over here on the screen. Now the problem is that it's hard to look at the camera like I'm supposed to do and not want to look over at the screen because it's a much bigger picture. Because here I can see myself because the video camera's got its own little teeny itty bitty teeny LCD, but it's kind of hard to see my face and that tiny little screen. Now here in a second I want to go show you back here behind me some of the things I've been working on the last little bit. I figured that if I'm going to be doing some of these videos, there's one thing that I need to improve considerably, and that's the amount of light in here in the lab, because as you can see back behind me there's a lot of dark spaces, and that's because I've got one bulb sitting up there in the ceiling. We're in an unfinished basement room, and so when we built the house originally there was just one socket with one bulb in it, and it's not quite enough. I've since upgraded a couple of times, tried to get a little more light in here, but I need something a little more spread out, a little to fill all of the spaces with light. Even over here on my bench it's a little too dark. Even with the lights I've got over there, just the overall brightness in the room just is horrible, and I need to get more light. So what I'm going to do is go back and here kind of show you exactly what I've been planning, because I've got some pretty cool lighting that I'm going to set up. So we'll go back and look at it. Okay, as you can see by video, I've got all of my stuff laid out here on the desk, on my workbench. My head's a little cut off here simply because I want you to be able to see everything that's here. So in order to do that, unfortunately I can't get the camera any further back and get more of the picture in. So you'll just have to bear with, because I don't have enough field of view here with the camera, but who cares? So my head's being cut off. That's not a huge deal. When I started thinking about what kind of lighting I wanted to hear in the lab, what I decided is I wanted to be able to use more modern lighting, but I wanted it to be able to still look old-fashioned. I wanted to look like you were in a lab. I wanted to be able to say, okay, give that kind of ambience of being in a lab, because that's what this place is for me. So what I did was I went out and bought a couple of rolls of LED lights. The first light that I have, and I'm going to turn the power supply on for them here, is a combination. It's got an RGB red, green, blue LED combo, and also a white LED, a warm white LED, all on the same reel. So every other LED that goes white, RGB. So you get kind of this variety of color that you can get out of this string. Now, I've got here the remote control for it. I've got a power supply here. There's the control, infrared control, which is right here, and I got to put this back up here because this is infrared control, not so it has to have to be able to point it right at the thing for it to work. Then I've got an amplifier here to provide all of the necessary energy for the LED strip. So what I can do when I turn it on, You can see, here's the red, the green, the blue, and then I can also turn all 3 LEDs on and get kind of a very coolish white color. So I can get coolish white. But in addition to that, I've also got the white LEDs, which are a warm white LED. So when I turn both of them on at the same time, all of them together, I got quite a bright amount of light. So I've got quite a variety here that I can use. But in addition to the RGB LED, the RGB white LED strip, I also bought an ultraviolet light strip. Now, when I turn this on, it's going to seem like it's kind of bright because the camera picks up quite a bit of light. It sees a lot of things that, of course, our eyes don't see. So when I turn this on, you'll notice it seems kind of bright. Another thing, too, is this particular ultraviolet LEDs have a higher frequency, so they're a little more in the visible range than what, say, this little fluorescent bulb here. This is a spiral black light bulb. This has a lower frequency. The LEDs have 400 nanometers, and this is 360. So it's a little more over into the ultraviolet range than what the RGB. But they still work pretty good, as you can see here with this is my bottle of fluorescent water here, and you can see the lights are pretty good. So we're going to have some fun with that. So those are going to go onto this right here. I've got here sitting in front of me, this is a piece of pipe that I'm going to hang from the ceiling, and I'm going to strap the LED strips down along the bottom, and this tie them with nylon ties, and I'll cut them into two 4-foot, the strips into two 4-foot sections, and I have 2 of these here. One of them will go right up here above me, and the other one will go right up here above where the bench and where the desk is. So that'll help light things up. And then I'll be able to control those I'll have all of the power supply and the controls and everything else over there on the wall, so I'll have to just, press right over in front of me. In addition to all of those, I've also bought some other type of LED bulbs. I've bought some of these type of bulbs. This is kind of an old-fashioned Edison type, retro type Edison bulb, but it's LED power. It's got kind of a warmish color to it, which I really like. And so I bought 6 of these to put up. What I'm going to do is I have some of these sockets here with some hangers, and this is kind of short, but I'll have this, and I'll have it hanging up from the ceiling up a certain height, and then these will also provide light, and this will be an overall. If I really I want a whole bunch of light, then I can use these for that type of light. And I'll have a dimmer. They can be used with a dimmer, and I bought these over at Costco. And I think 2 for $20. And then I'll have, this is the new wall box here that'll go over there on the wall, and I'll rewire all of this and run the wire down over there, and then run some power to that box. So I'll have those I can control. But in addition, right directly above the bench, I'm going to have some of these LED spotlights, and these will be hung from the ceiling. I have some black chain here that I'm going to use to hang these from, so that'll look kind of cool. Now, in order to hang the piping, I've bought some kind of rustic copper type chain. I bought this over at a craft store for, I don't think very much money. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it wasn't too expensive. And then I'll just cut pieces of that, and I'll use it to hang the pipes up with. And I've got some hooks here as well to hang those with, and some eye bolts here. These will be actually going down into the thing here because they're screwed in, and then these will go up in the ceiling where I can string the chains up and hang the ceiling. And once I've got that, this will also be used on a dimmer. And once I've got it all done, and I'll kind of go through some of the videos. I'll make a video of each step as how I do how I'm working this. So you'll get to see, oh, my mistake. Oh, that didn't quite work. This worked. That didn't work. And maybe we'll get it all set up. I've got all of the cable I need for it. I've got some RGBW cable for the RGB. Here's the cable for the ultraviolet lights. I've got the cable here for the hanging lamps. I like this. This is this old-fashioned cotton-covered twisted wire. I've actually seen this. I'm old enough now that I can remember back in the day. My grandmother had some Christmas lights with this kind of wire on it, and I thought this was pretty cool. You can get this stuff online. I was kind of surprised that they make this, but it's a very popular to make that. If you're like rewiring a fan or something, you can use some of that old-fashioned cable and some old-fashioned plugs. So, and I'll use these here. I've got some boxes, some metal boxes. These will be up in the ceiling, and then some plates. And I'll drill a hole, and I'll have one of these. Oh, here, let's put it on. I'll have one of these cable clamps here that I have. I hope you can see that a little bit. I'm going to get the camera up here, and then you'll be able to kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. One of these will go into this plate like this, and then the cable will come down and go into the lampshade like this, and then I'll wire it all up and get it up and going. So we've got all of that. Now, have I forgotten anything? No. So eventually, the plan is this is going to be where I'm going to do some experiments and have some fun. I went out the other day and I've bought, here we go, I bought some pipes. So what I'm going to do like with this, I'm going to make me a little wall lamp. I just barely got this fixture here. Put this down in here. Oh, there we go. And then I have a little candelabra socket. The wires will go down in here like this. And it's kind of tough because it's on a curve, but as you can see, this will fit down inside of there. And then I have some flicker flame bulbs that'll go inside these candelabra bases. Candelabra, I think that's how you pronounce it. And so we'll make some of those for up here on the wall, maybe back behind here somewhere where you can see them in the videos. So some fun stuff planned. I've also got a couple other things here. I bought one of these tube lamps, and I'm going to make this has got kind of a cool spiral filament inside of it, and so I powered it up. It's pretty cool. And so I'm going to do a whole bunch of stuff here, but for now I need to get the lighting in here up and going, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. And once I get everything where I can see what the heck I'm doing, we'll do some experiments. And when Halloween comes up here in the next few months, October, it's a little ways away, I know, but we can have some fun until then and do some interesting stuff. Play with some fluorescent water and some other stuff. We'll make some cool stuff you can use to decorate your Halloween stuff with. So in any case, that's what the plan is. So hopefully here within the next few weeks, I'll be able to get all this lining up, and then I'll be able to do some really cool stuff. So until next time, this is Big D in the lab, and I'll see you when I see you again, and we'll do another video. See you later. Bye-bye.